Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Out of Nowhere podcast, episode 30 for that matter. And today we are actually for the first time ever promoting the fact that we are live. Yes, from now on every Wednesday at 8:30 you'll be able to catch us live via Google, via YouTube. We'll always post the links before the show goes live and we'll be here to discuss the recent Raw that just went down and also always the latest weeks ongoing in the WWE. So who's joining me today? Well, we have a lovely Chelsea.
We've been doing this for 30 episodes.
Yep, this is episode 30.
Jesus. Hello. I'm back. I have internet that's not like ridiculously slow. I'm able to be here.
And joining Chelsea and I today, we have Michael Allen.
Good evening, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I think 30 is about time we got put off the air, right?
It is surprising that we're still here and still going, but it seems to be doing quite well for ourselves, I think, not to toot one's own horn.
Fair enough.
Modesty out of the way, it's been quite the eventful week. Well, eventful 48 hours, if we're going to be brutally honest, in the past WWE. From releases to returns to quite possibly the super show of all super shows happening in Hawaii. Yeah, let's start off with the releases then. So, we all found out that it's time for WWE's annual, well, I say annual in the past year or two, but spring cleaning, where they got rid of Hornswoggle, Alex Riley, El Torito, Cameron, Santino Marella, Wendell, and Zeb Coulter. Is everyone surprised by these names being released? Does anyone care, frankly, about some of them?
The only one that I care about, and the only one I want to talk about, is Damien Sandow. Like, that guy is... I don't know why I'm such a fan of him. I mean, everybody seems to be. And they do nothing with him. And to be honest, it was expected that they were going to let him go. It didn't come as a surprise, and neither did any of the others, really. I mean, none of them have done anything in, over a year?
And the ones that they have released have always... Well, Wade Barrett we've speculated about for the past couple of months now. We've known about that one. And then you've got El Torito and Hornswoggle, who... I forgot Hornswoggle was even on the roster. And El Torito, obviously, with the repackaging, they weren't going to do anything with him.
The greatest percentage in WWE history.
Win percentage, yeah. And then, Santino and Zeb. I mean, Santino's retired, and I guess we say goodbye to Zeb Coulter on a wheelchair, which I never got to see run everyone else with.
I bet that's the thing you're most gutted about, isn't it?
It really is. I wanted to see Zeb Coulter actually do a drive-by in his wheelchair on somebody.
I really like Zeb Coulter though. I'd rather have Zeb Coulter as Darren Young's manager than Bob Backlund. We'll get to that later.
And then as well, you had Cameron and Alex Riley, who I think the reasons we aren't surprised about these two, because other than Hornswoggle and Adam Rose, who aren't on this, I mean, Ryback and Adam Rose, who aren't on this list, surprisingly, have been the two most vocal on social media about not having a place in the WWE.
Well, I think Adam Rose is half dead, so... I mean, he looked at his mugshot.
If you hadn't heard the news, you can go over to outerlives.net and you can find Chelsea's piece regarding Adam Rose's arrest, was it? His mugshot being posted regarding domestic abuse?
He got drunk, beat someone up. Just the life of Adam Rose.
After he posted, deleted, then reposted his doctor's note.
Oh, I saw a great meme actually. I think it was a picture of Ryback, and it was just like a gif of him being like tweet delete, tweet delete, tweet delete, and that's pretty much what's going on with those two at the moment. They seem to broadcast everything over social media, retract it straight away, and then go back and do it again. I don't get it.
Is anyone surprised those two haven't actually cropped up in this recent list, or do you just expect that to happen at some point in the next month or so?
I don't think we're going to see either of them ever again, to be honest. I mean, Ryback's a funny one because obviously it's not. He hasn't really done anything wrong other than what he's put on. Was it his Tumblr, like a blog or something like that? Mm-hmm. But I honestly don't think we'll see Adam Rose again.
The party has ended, unfortunately for him, it seems.
Quite the party pooper.
Well, moving on from the releases, let's go into Raw this week. And it started off with Chris Jericho making his way down to the ring, cutting a rather fine promo on Dean Ambrose, saying how Mitch the Potted Plant was worth more to WWE than Ambrose was. I think Mitch is probably worth more than half the roster. Not quite sure about Ambrose. Only to be interrupted rather surprisingly by Cass. Was this in a way? Did you expect Cass to be kicking off Raw this week, like how he did?
No, not at all. Like it didn't seem to fit, but he still held his own. He held his own, and I we'll get to the rest of it later, the payoff. But I thought he sounded good when music first hit. I thought that maybe Enzo had come back surprisingly early, but they'd already ruled that out, I think. But yeah, I don't know. It certainly wasn't expected. That's for sure.
Were you excited by the prospect of it? Because basically what followed up for this was Jericho and Cass went a bit back and forth, and what we got for what was hyped for the main event and arranged was Big Cass set to go one-on-one with Chris Jericho. I mean, they've talked about a new era. Big Cass potentially main eventing Raw. Quite an impact for the new era.
I really don't get this whole new era thing. I mean, other than the people that have come up, nothing's really changed.
You think?
Like I can hardly see them giving it a new. Like obviously it's changing for the better with the matchups they're having and stuff like that, but being it put under the whole new era thing, I don't get it.
You're not impressed by the buzzword?
Pardon?
You're not impressed by WWE's latest buzzword?
No, far from it, and they are literally throwing it about more than they should because, like I said, other than obviously the matchups and stuff like that, it's exactly the same as it was before Mania. I mean, yeah, we're getting less authority and stuff like that, but it's still WWE PG. Like, I can't really, I don't think it should be given the title of an era change.
I'm slowly coming around to it. I think it's going to take a while. I don't think you can just say this is a new era and go, for it to change overnight. I think this is definitely it's been a slow burning build as we've seen more NXT guys get called up.
But the difference is that before, when we've had a change in era, there has been a discernible difference in content.
Yeah.
Where this is just a discernible change in talent, which I don't know if that constitutes an era change. I suppose in some ways it does, but it's not the usual era change that WWE usually. You have the Attitude Era, and then you have the Brock Lesnar era, and then you have the PG era. It just doesn't feel as grand of a change as that if they are legitimately trying to suggest that it is a new era, or whether that's just something that they're saying for, I don't know, building up to a potential storyline, maybe.
It's definitely interesting, at least. I mean, seeing all these guys that we've seen in NXT and around the world in professional wrestling, mainstays of Raw or making an impact certainly on Raw. I mean, I don't think, you go back 3-4 years that you'd have AJ Styles, 3 months coming into the company having a WWE title shot twice in a row. I think it's definitely an interview, but I think that, like as you alluded to, this is going to be a very slow, gradual build up to whatever we're set to see. I mean, getting back to Big Cass though, has the injury to Enzo kind of helped Big Cass? It's helping him away. It's almost helping him kind of make a mark for himself more than potentially his feud over the tag titles would ever do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Michael. Like, the past couple of times, well, ever since they've come up to Raw, really, like Cass has never been the greatest on the mic, or he's just always been like literally in Enzo's shadow. But no, I was pleasantly surprised with how well he did this week, and like you say, if they are pushing him to do that, and he's going to get he's going to get better this quickly, then I'm really happy to see where it goes. But the only thing I got from it was just Big Cass is fucking huge. Like, stood next to Jericho, and I was like, okay, he's bigger than even I thought he was to begin with. Like, or Jericho's smaller than I thought he was, but the size difference between the two was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you hear it like week after week. He's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. But my God, like the guy, when you think about it, is bigger than the Undertaker.
Yeah, but he's only
Like-
legit. He's only legit 6'9" though. So when he stood next to Jericho, I'm thinking he's legit. He's legit 6'9". How tall is Jericho? I must be taller than Jericho. He doesn't seem that tall at all.
I think like they do. It's notoriously known that they are big at heights and have them guys wear platforms almost, isn't it?
Well, it was on Stone Cold's podcast where he was praising them for their entrance, and he was really enjoying the 7 foot tall. You can't teach that and all that jazz. And he just asked him what his shoot height was, and he said 6'9". So, I mean, it's not a closely guarded secret. He just let it out there. But the size difference was massive.
I think if he continues on and shining the way he has been, I mean, he's got a lot of years ahead of him, and he could potentially be one of, he's definitely got the look that Vince is going to go for in terms of who he wants as a main event talent. And I think over the next couple of years, we could slowly see the rise of Big Cass as a future mainstay on the roster.
He still needs a lot of improvement, though.
Oh God, yeah,
Like a lot of improvement. I mean, with a tag team with him and Enzo, I mean, they work really well. But I just think he definitely does need a few more years before they are putting him in that. Even the Raw main event scene, like I think that is way too soon. Obviously, it's set up for what was to come, but I wouldn't put it past them to try it again next week or something.
But I think you asked it earlier, Ollie. I was really hyped to see this main event. It was totally unexpected. I didn't understand why it wasn't the club versus the family again, which we had in the show, but it wasn't the main event. And I was thinking, oh God, something must be happening here. I can't wait to watch this. So they got me enticed the entire time. Built it up with the backstage promos that Cass had been given, and I was well behind it. I was wanting him to do well for him and Enzo, I guess, since he said that's who he was fighting for. And then the payoff was just so disappointing.
Well, we will get onto that payoff later when we continue on to the show. But moving on from quite the hot opener, we moved on to Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler. Yet again, we're getting these two back and forth, which seems to be the par for the course for any Dolph Ziggler feud, as they go back and forth 5 or 6 times over the space of 2 weeks. But this time, Baron Corbin actually came away with the decisive victory, pinning Ziggler 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I still like Baron Corbin. He was wearing the brown pants instead of the black, which our resident attire man has told us is not his preferred look. But did anyone expect anything other than Baron Corbin winning this one? I don't think so.
No, this for me, I wouldn't say I'm ever gonna like Baron Corbin, but I do really appreciate what he does. Like, I think it's just the end of days more than anything that I like about him. But to me, this whole Baron Corbin Ziggler thing is exactly on the same wavelength as when we had Kevin Owens versus Ziggler for God knows however many weeks in a row. Like, I want to see Baron Corbin do what he did in NXT, and that's just take on absolutely everybody and defeat them rather than being stuck in this feud with Ziggler, because it doesn't go anywhere, which we saw with Kevin Owens.
I suppose the problem with it though is that what's the sensible next step for it though? You don't want to push him into a title too soon, which would have been, I guess, the US title, which obviously Rusev's going for. But what would be the next tier up from Dolph Ziggler to the belt? I don't know there isn't a middle ground there, is there?
That's what I mean. Everybody that is in the lower card, so maybe like Heath Slater and Bo Dallas and everybody like that, just have him go out and just squash all those people like he did in NXT, and then that would then build him up to something like the US Championship, which is the first belt, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with that. He should have started with the squashes, like Finney has, really.
Apollo
Crews, who is now missing.
He's disappeared.
He's disappeared
on the Superstars of main event.
It's a Great. What a career. Yeah, that's how Corbin should have started, squashing people like that, and then moved on to Ziggler, and then moved on to Title Town.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that's what's missing. The needs for WWE, the people who are in the Dolph Ziggler putting people over tier. I don't know who
Well,
else
it used to be like what Kane and Big Show used to be kind of in that tier.
Exactly, yeah. But now nobody wants to see them anymore, and if they were to appear, it wouldn't be believable. And he isn't going to end of days Big Show, so.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I mean, if he pulled that off, fair play to him, you know.
I think it's fair to say that if he did that, then that was probably a height akin to when, John Cena first lifted the Big Show for an FU. Would be quite the sight to see. Moving on from Corbin and Ziggler, we got a couple of backstage promos. First and foremost was Charlotte and Ric Flair trying to suck up to Shane to get the ban on Ric Flair from ringside be overturned. But alas, that was meant to be, was not to be, and he got himself banned from his Charlotte's upcoming match with Paige. Paige actually on fucking Raw for God knows how long. And then after that...
Yes, Paige.
And then after that, we got a backstage interview with the club saying they're officially back together again. And while Styles will happily win the title on his own come Extreme Rules, he's more than happy to take every opportunity that Rollins seems to be taking. I'm really enjoying this kind of feud now. Like the whole Styles is taking the high road and Reigns is clearly showing that he's out for himself and essentially playing the heel. So, but we got finally confirmed that the club is together.
Yeah, well, I didn't realise they weren't, but okay. At least it's now confirmed by AJ Styles. Thank you.
Then after that, we got everyone's favourite moments of Raw. It's the ever-going R-Truth and Tyler Breeze versus Fandango and Goldust. Romantic comedy.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, right, and not just this match, but WWE's comedy wrestling in general, because that's what this is. This is their comedy section. Like, you see comedy matches on indie shows, and they're so fantastic, and they are entertaining as hell. But WWE just can't do a comedy wrestling match. And I don't know what it is, but like, they're never entertaining.
They sometimes get it right, and by sometimes I mean very rarely. And it depends very much on the people participating. Almost like Team Hell No was, for all intents and purposes, comedy wrestling. Santino Marella.
I'll give you that. That was wonderful comedy wrestling. Yeah.
Santino Marella, when he was in his tag team with Vladimir Kozlov and doing the Tea Party with Sheamus in the UK, will always go down as one of my favourite comedy moments in the WWE.
Nope.
But they can get it right, but I'll give you it. 9 times out of 10, they tend to go well, as this feud seems to be going. Your thoughts on it, Chelsea?
Like indie. Sorry, go on.
No, I completely agree with Michael when he says like comedy shows in the indies are that they do it so well. But these matches in WWE are probably my least favorite things to watch in wrestling. Like, I get the whole R-Truth Goldust thing. I mean, I quite like that. But these matches in general, they are probably the worst things that I have to watch. So I don't even think I watched this segment. I just looked away. But I definitely agree with Michael when he says like they just don't work in WWE, and yeah, I'm not a fan at all of this feud storyline, whatever it is.
Well, for the second week in a row, we've talked about this feud longer than the actual show of this feud, so let's move on. Next up, we had the ever-going, increasing Intercontinental title feud with Kevin Owens, Miz, Maurice, and Cesaro backstage with Shane and Stephanie arguing over the triple threat upcoming at the pay-per-view. For only Zayn to enter the picture and say, look, I know I should probably go to the back of the line, but if you give me a match against The Miz, I sure as I'll can beat him, and you should be slotted into this for a fatal four-way. And shockingly enough, Steph and Shane agreed to go with it. So for late in the match, we had Zayn versus Intercontinental Champion The Miz for a spot in the Intercontinental title match. Your thoughts on this feud, and we'll get on to like the rest of the matches later, but just overall, this four-way now, essentially, for the Intercontinental title. Chelsea, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'm really in two minds about this whole thing. Like, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, I adore. I really like The Miz. I really like Cesaro. So I'm really happy with those four being in the ring and going for the title together. But at the same time, I just want them to have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn by themselves. Like, I don't want them stuck in the middle of this and then them trying to run that storyline at the same time. Like, so I am really happy with the Intercontinental scene at the moment, but I really just want them to give Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn their own time outside of it, and hopefully after, say, Extreme Rules, when we've got this four-way match, like, that will happen. But as I say, I'm really in two minds about it.
I'm not sure if it will be that quick enough for you, Chelsea. I'm afraid it could be a SummerSlam payout. It could even be the next WrestleMania payoff. You know.
Yeah, but they've built it like already. I mean, they had their singles match at Payback, and they just seem to either be rushing it or taking it really slow. Like they're not doing one thing. They seem to be mixing it together. I just want them to, like you say, either go full force with it and do it now, or just leave them, not push that storyline onto us while they're pushing this other one too.
Can you imagine in 8 months' time, 10 months' time, WrestleMania could be Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens for the title? That'd be sweet. Like
Kevin Owens
for the main title.
Yeah, Kevin Owens is getting Money in the Bank, and if he doesn't, I will be insanely gutted. So yeah, to have him, I know, beat Roman Reigns before next WrestleMania, and yeah, Sami Zayn's the #1 contender. Literally best WrestleMania ever already.
Do you think what kind of odds do you reckon I'd get for that as a bet right now?
I don't know, but I think the payout from it would be pretty damn good.
Yeah, I think so too. Anyway, moving away from gambling.
I think for this feud, I think they will stretch it to SummerSlam, where we get kind of the big payoff for this second chapter really of their feud. So yeah, because you could say the first chapter was their feud in NXT in terms of WWE story. But like, if you look at the next pay-per-views, you got Extreme Rules obviously this month, where I see neither of them winning the Intercontinental title, one of them probably costing the other one, like, at the chance of winning it. The one after that is Money in the Bank, where I see both of them going for the Money in the Bank, where again, one will cost the other one in winning the Money in the Bank.
Just talking about Money in the Bank for a second, like, who do you guys want to win Money in the Bank this year? Because for me it is Kevin Owens, because I can fantasy book the shit out of him with a briefcase.
Could you imagine it? I mean, it is perfect.
It really is. Like, just him being so sassy with that briefcase. It's just what he's gonna do on Raw, what he's gonna do on Twitter. Like, I would pay Vince McMahon all the money I have just to give him that briefcase right now.
I think, yeah, if you asked anybody that question, who they want Money in the Bank to go to this year, 99% of people will say Kevin Owens.
Well, it's got to be between KO and AJ Styles, wasn't it?
I don't think it's AJ.
You could argue Sami Zayn, but I think it's got to be KO.
Yeah, the only real answer is Kevin Owens.
But I would be shocked if it wasn't Kevin Owens. However, it could be Cesaro. It could be Sami Zayn, I guess, but I would be surprised if it was.
Could be Chris Jericho, frankly. He could he could go away, come back from Money in the Bank, win it, go away, and come back at some point completely, because it's.
Oh, Michael would hate that.
Yes, I would hate that. I would fucking hate that. It is interesting though that they are going to continue to put Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in multi-man matches. They are keeping the rivalry on just under the surface, whilst having a different event going on at the same time. Because it's going to happen. it's happening this time, and then it's happening at Money in the Bank. So,
And then the one after that's Battleground, which may be the start of Steph versus Zayn, so they could be either sides of that, in a multi-man match, say Zayn's team, Shane, Steph.
or even better, teaming
KO's
up. Could you
teams.
imagine that?
And the one after that's and the one after that, SummerSlam, where you might get their next one-on-one match.
There you go.
So there's a.
There we go, Chelsea. There's your one-on-one match.
But it's too far away. Too far away.
You cannot have your cake and eat it too.
Unfortunately not.
I hate that saying. It makes no sense.
I don't think I've ever put that much thought into it.
It's a stupid saying. No one should ever say it. I don't know why I did.
Oh, well, moving on from Mike's hatred of the English language, we move on to the first women's match of the night, which was WWE Champion Charlotte going one-on-one against, as already mentioned, Paige in a... Well, Michael, do you want to take this one, seeing as you're a big fan of Paige being back in the ring?
I am a big fan of her being back in the ring, because just look what she does. It was a wonderful match. And you knew what was going to happen all the way through. You knew it was going to be a roll-up win, and you knew it was going to be Paige who was getting the win. Because why would Daddy Flair not be banned at ringside and make Charlotte lose, which makes the pay-per-view, the fact that Daddy Flair's not going to be there at the pay-per-view, even more important, I guess. So the whole thing was totally expected. But her and Paige and Charlotte, they put on a great wrestling match, and I just don't understand why Paige isn't used more. I really, really don't.
There's got to be a reason behind it, hasn't there? Because
it would seem so, but what would that reason be? I mean, yes, they've got a lot more influx of talent now, but
there was a rumour she was injured for a long period of time, wasn't there?
Who was?
Paige. There was the rumour that Paige was injured at one point.
Yeah, I guess so, but I mean, she hasn't been for a while. And if I'm honest, as much as I like Natalya, I'm surprised that they're not using Paige as an intermediate competitor before she eventually gets to Sasha Banks, because Paige is currently, more relevant than Natalya has been.
Well, she got the win today, so she may very well be, if you follow the logic of the Intercontinental title match, Paige should be the next #1 contender.
I am down for that. That's fine by me.
If Charlotte goes through Natty at Extreme Rules, then maybe she beats Paige at Money in the Bank. Although I have to say, people have spoken about it, but it's never been. I don't think it's going to happen for a while. But a women's Money in the Bank match.
I want that. I want that so badly. I think I've said it before, but I don't know if they're going to do it this year. But I would really love them to have that women's Money in the Bank, just to put them on par with the men, which they're trying to do. Obviously with the new belt and stuff like that, but I think a women's ladder match.
Well, I was just going to say, let's not jump the gun too much. We've not even had a women's match that is involving weapons, so I don't think they're going to jump straight into a TLC. Well, I guess it's just a ladder match, but a TLC match is what they usually all end up being.
But you've never on the roster had more of an opportunity to do one, I think.
Well, absolutely not. But
who we know can kind of go.
Well, it's not the talent that's usually the problem, though, is it? It's the fact that they've always just seemed to think that, well, women shouldn't be involved with the weapons. That's it. That seems to be it. If women involved, no weapons. Okay, that seems silly, I guess, but if that's what you want to do. But this week it was an interview, I think, with Bayley, who wants to fight Sasha in a Hell in a Cell. Fucking hell. That's even worse, isn't it? Jumping the gun there. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that? But my God, they've not even had a ladder match, and she wants to go into a Hell in a Cell.
I think Vince just has a thing against women with power.
Misogynistic Vince McMahon.
Unless it's his daughter. But I mean, if you had to try and say book a women's Money in the Bank match, and let's say they did 6 people, 6 seems reasonable for like the women's
Yeah.
one. Who would you put in it? Obviously,
Becky.
Charlotte's the champion, so
This is easy.
Yeah, Becky, Sasha, Natty, Paige.
Foxy.
Yeah, Foxy
you
and
put Foxy in it. Naomi.
Naomi, yeah.
like Naomi. And like, this is completely going off topic straight
What
away.
about
But I was reading. I think it was on Reddit before, and Naomi and Tamina both injured.
Tamina? Possibly, and there was rumours that she may also be set for release some point soon. But I don't know about Naomi. And
No, I mean, like, I've heard nothing about it until I read something about it before. But yeah. Anyway, those 5 and
Emma.
yes. I was just about Emma. Maybe even actually at this point, I'd maybe even swap Foxy out for Dana Brooke.
Why are we not saying Sasha Bailey?
Because
she's not.
in-
Yeah, she's not going to be there. I don't.
You just asked me to book a women's.
So you'd have her as
Money
like
in
the
the Bank?
surprise entrance.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
Oh, if that option was there, definitely.
Chelsea, we have just been named the bookers. We can do what we like.
Okay, if we can do what we like, then.
Then you got
I
to
don't
ask
know.
for it.
Yeah. And I like the bliss.
But before we go down the rabbit hole then of the NXT Women's Division, which
I'm Stephanie McMahon. Let's get her in. But in all seriousness, I don't want to move past this women's match before we say it. Time for a women's tag title.
Yes.
Definitely.
I know we'll talk about it in a couple of minutes, I'm guessing, but with the addition of Dana Brooke back with Emma, perfect heel tag team. Absolutely perfect heel tag team.
they've been killing it in NXT together, so I'm glad that we've got them both now on Raw as a pair, because Emma seems to be quite floundering. But we'll get into it. We'll get into it when she pops up. Anyway, the next match up was Sami Zayn versus The Miz. If Sami Zayn wins, he gets his way into the Intercontinental title match at Extreme Rules. And would you believe it, he only goes and bloody does it, beating The Miz with one hell of a kick. Thoughts on the match?
I'm just so gutted I haven't got Google effects up.
Again, there is not a match that Sami Zayn has done since coming up to Raw that hasn't been a great match. And I can't remember if it was like a moonsault or something off the barricade, but just Sami Zayn seems to put in everything into every match that he does, and it's the same like with the guys in NXT. Obviously, they're trying to prove themselves day in day out, so they always put everything into their matches. Whereas on the main roster, sometimes they are a bit lackluster. But it just seems that Sami Zayn just brings it every single week, and every match that he has is just great. And like I said before,
maybe that's what the new era is. Trying hard.
the try hard era.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be working, and like you can't overlook The Miz's contribution to this match. As good as Sami Zayn is consistently, The Miz has been quite on point since WrestleMania in terms of his matches, the character he's portraying these days. Like it's just he's.
Oh no, I love The Miz. I love everything that they're doing with The Miz, even with Maurice. Like.
I don't even think he needed Maurice though, did he? He didn't really need her.
No, it's not needed.
Though, doesn't it? Like it just makes you want to hate him more. The fact that Maurice is there.
Yeah, he's got her.
Yeah. But no, the Miz is someone that is probably the person that I love to hate the most, because he's just the Miz is the Miz, and I don't
He's
know.
good at being the Miz, isn't he?
Yeah. Don't think there's any way other to put it than he is the Miz.
He's not even trying, he's not even acting, he's just a cunt, and he's good at being a cunt.
Well, I think that's the thing, like, for The Miz that gets very overlooked, is he's a character that you do want to boo because he's a very good heel. Like, it's not like Kevin Owens, who, if he came out and we saw him live, we'd all cheer for because it's Kevin Owens, like, even though the fact he's trying to portray a heel. Whereas with The Miz, he makes you want to boo him for the fact he's so good at being a heel, if you catch where I'm trying to go with this.
Yeah.
Like with
Like,
Roman Reigns, he's meant to be a face, but we boo him. Like Kevin Owens is meant to be a heel, but we cheer him. Whereas The Miz is being a heel, and he's one of the few heels who's being a heel that we will boo and get a reaction from.
he's on par with Jericho. Jericho as a heel. Like Jericho as a heel again is another person that, as much as I love Chris Jericho, when he is a heel, like I hate him, but that's because of how well he plays it. And The Miz is exactly the same. I think that those two are some of the best heels that we've got.
I mean, it's hard to do now in a world where people love the heels and people hate the faces. It's hard to be a heel that people don't like.
It's just you just can't cheer that man. As good as he is, you just can't cheer him.
You have to appreciate him. I think that's as much as you're allowed to do. You're allowed to appreciate what The Miz does, but you can't like him.
Well, moving on from this great match, we saw Sami Zayn, like I said, picking up the victory and solidifying the Fatal 4-Way set for Extreme Rules. We then move on to, as we alluded to earlier, a backstage interview with Becky Lynch, only to be followed up by Emma and Dana Brooke interrupting. How surprised were you to see Dana, like another NXT superstar, make the jump?
I kind of ruined it for myself, and I think I ruined it for you guys in the end, because I saw that she was backstage, and then I told you all, and then she actually appeared. Because I saw that she was backstage, but I really didn't expect her to be on the show. I assumed that maybe they were just crossing paths, so she decided to go see her old pal. I don't know. But there she was, and I was like, oh, I wish I hadn't have known. I really wish I didn't. But there you go.
I think
I'm not surprised, but appreciated.
Yeah, I'm like towards. I mean, I know she's been out injured for a while, but while Dana Brooke was in NXT, like I really grew to like her, and that was the thing with the women's division, is there was such a big gap in the heels, and the work that Emma and Dana Brooke did in NXT, like that is the perfect. I wouldn't even thought about it. Like Michael said that she was backstage, and didn't even think for a moment that she'd actually be on the show. But when she did pop up, like I couldn't believe how well that's worked.
And like Dana as a character just completely gets it. I think like she's one of the women who just knows as a character who she completely is. More so, I think Becky Lynch really kind of knows who she is as a character these days. Like,
and Steven just has the hots for her as well, so that helps him. I don't know what it is, but he really likes Dana Brooke.
I really can't see that.
Yeah, well, horses for courses, I guess, but he's all over that.
But I think Dana coming up to the main roster is definitely going to help Emma stand out and not get lost in the shuffle as she was potentially could have done, like Sasha Banks seems to have been, unfortunately.
Yeah, so those women's tag titles, right? Let's get back to it. This is the point we're allowed to talk about them, right?
Yep.
There's so many underused divas now. I just said divas. Women's wrestlers now. That we need another women's feud on the card, and why not have the women's tag team title division be created? It's not something that they've ever had. It's something that they can market that it's first time ever.
Well,
they had it in the 80s, didn't they?
It's the first time the WWE TNA had a women's tag team title.
Yeah. Well, so we don't talk about them, though, do we? So, did they have it in the 80s?
70s or 80s. There was. It might not have been obviously WWE, or it might have been something else, but yeah, there definitely has been a women's tag team title floating about in that company.
In WWF?
1980.
Yeah.
What, in WWF?
Yep. Promotion World Wrestling Federation. The WWF Women's Tag Team Championship was a professional wrestling title in the World Wrestling Federation. It went from 1983 to 1989.
Well, there you go. So they can market it instead, maybe not the first time ever, but for the first time in 40 years. Or 30. What year did you say?
83 to 88. Well, 89.
Alright, for
And
the
there were
first
only,
time in almost 30 years.
and there were only ever one, two, three, four tag teams that ever hold the titles.
How many matches were there? 4.
I couldn't tell you.
Come on, Wikipedia.
But no, it'd be great. Like they definitely have like enough talent. And okay, we've booked a women's Money in the Bank. Give me 4 because they usually tend. WWE loves having 4 or 5 tag teams. Give us 4 women's tag teams.
Alright, well, we've got
Emma-
Emma and
Dana,
Dana. I'm going to go Bailey and Fabulous Girl.
Carmella, Baymella.
Yeah.
There you are. Have Baymella. Why not have Paige and Becky Lynch being the UK last kickers? Tamina and Naomi. There you go. That's 4.
It makes for an interesting women's tag team division.
Would you be happy with that?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that I'd change with that, actually.
If you couldn't use the NXT tag team, and it just had to be what you've got now as a women's.
Well, I used NXT, didn't I? So
Yeah, so replace Bailey and Carmella with.
Natalia. Okay, here you go. Natalia and Paige instead, because they're best friends, and then have Becky Lynch and Sasha.
That'll work. And I think would make like those 2 teams alone would make for it was a great match. And then you've got Emma and Dana, who would always be like the 3rd tag team, and then you've got Naomi and Tamina as the ones you beat.
yeah, the chaff. And then you've obviously got Charlotte, who can just stand alone as the champion, and then fight a singles competitor from whichever tag team isn't doing anything. Perfect.
I think it's definitely we're at that time now where they need to give more space and more storylines to the women. If it is a tag title or is it it's a decent second feud or even a 3rd storyline because there's that many talented women on the roster that you feel bad when they have, like you said, they've forgotten about Paige for what's felt like 6 months almost. But moving on, forgetting about Paige to, well, forgetting and remembering that Zack Ryder is still a thing in the WWE. Yes, following on from that, we had Zack Ryder backstage talking to Shane saying, look, come on, I won at WrestleMania, give me another title shot. Only if I have, as Chelsea correctly pointed out in her article this week on Out of Lives, which you should go visit, that the King of SAS Style came out and brutally mocked Zack Ryder. This then led to a match between the 2 where if Ryder beat Owens, he'd get Owens' spot in the Fatal 4-Way match.
Yeah, that kind of ruined it for me, because then you knew it wasn't going to happen. Given the fact that they had a 7-man match for the Intercontinental title, I thought, well, why not have a 5-man match for the Intercontinental title this time and have him in? But as soon as he said that if he wins, he would replace Kevin Owens, you just knew it wasn't going to happen. And I was sad, because I'm a massive Zack Ryder apologist.
He's never going anywhere near a title ever again. Like WrestleMania was it. That was
it. Him and Mojo Rawley are going to go for a title.
Oh, I guess they could probably challenge for the tag titles, couldn't they, in NXT?
There you go.
Get Hype Bros as a thing.
Yeah, so does Zack Ryder.
Oh, poor Zack Ryder. Anyway, we'll get onto that match later because next we had Sin Cara versus Rusev.
Rusev!
Sadly ended in Rusev losing to a roll-up.
Yeah. Yeah, we needed another roll-up win for Raw because you have to have 2 a week.
And one had to be Sin Cara, the man who
That
never
was the
wins
second.
against Rusev. The man who needs to win.
I mean, Sin Cara wins on Raw. Can you believe it? It's just,
No.
I know, it's just... I mean, it's not even like it was. I don't know. It just seems.
What are your thoughts on the feud? Like Kalisto versus Rusev. Like, where are your thoughts on it? Like, do you just want it to be over and give the title to Rusev so he can on to better things? Like, what?
Yeah. That's exactly where I stand with it. I mean, at this point, I am just waiting for extra. Actually, first, before I say that, if this match is on the fucking pre-show,
no,
it's going to be.
It's not going to be. Not with Rusev.
No, it cannot be on the pre-show. But yeah, it is just a sitting duck waiting for Rusev to take that belt and John Cena to come back, and we have that feud all over again. And the US Championship will once again be something worth watching. But yeah, at this point, I am just waiting for that match for Rusev to take that title back and actually do something with it.
But the problem with the feud is that it's based on the fact that Rusev did the Lucha Dragon pose dance thing after a match. Is that the only reason? I mean, if I could do that and get a title match, I'd do it too. So, I don't know. It seems like a flimsy excuse to have a title match, but needs must.
At least the US titles, being fought over, hey?
Well, yes, I guess so. But again, if it's on the pre-show, then bollocks to it. What's the point? It won't be. I'm positive it won't be. But if it is, it's doomed. Doomed, I tells you.
Well, after that, we got what actually could have been the main event for this evening, but it wasn't. It was the elimination three-man tag team match: AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, The Club versus the Usos and Roman Reigns and the Family.
Well, it was the main event.
No, there was other matches afterwards. So this match, elimination style, which was great to see because it doesn't happen often when they do these six-man tag matches.
I love an elimination tag match. Let's put that out there. Elimination matches are fantastic. Give me more.
It's definitely one of my favourite matches, and like you say, we don't see them a lot, and to have them with these guys as well, it was probably, actually, to be fair, it's probably one of the only matches that I actually paid attention to. But,
everybody's been known that Chelsea got Uncharted and couldn't give a fuck about wrestling.
Yeah, pretty much. I couldn't give a fuck. I did nothing or cared about anything yesterday other than Nathan Drake. But
Nathan Drake cares about is himself.
No, Bazinga.
He is a crazy narcissist of a character.
Straight up psychopath.
I'm not. I won't go into. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything. But if you, if you think he's a psychopath before Uncharted 4, then I cannot wait for you to play the new one.
Unless it ends with him being locked up or put down, then frankly, I don't know. That Uncharted 4 will never have a fitting ending because my God, that man.
But this is not the Out of the Crossfire podcast. If you want to listen to more about Nathan Drake's adventures, tune into the Out of the Crossfire podcast.
I'm on it Tuesday.
Outoflies.net.
Great cross promotion there.
Thank you very much. Seamless.
Anyway, breakdown of this six-man tag match before we get into the finer details and our thoughts on it. Machine Gun Carl Anderson defeated Jey Uso to begin with. Jimmy Uso then got his comeuppance on Anderson. This led to AJ defeating Jimmy Uso, leading us with a 2-on-1. AJ and Gallows taking on Roman Reigns. Reigns obviously eliminates Gallows. And before we can get a final decision, AJ and Roman Reigns take it to the outside. They brawl over the table. And just as it looks like Roman may possibly put AJ Styles through the table for the second time in a week, the Club, the Good Brothers, they make their return with steel chairs and batter the crap out of Roman Reigns, leading to a very fun brawl afterwards.
Yeah.
So thoughts on the match and the shenanigans afterwards?
Yeah, this is why I love Bullet Club. This is just they couldn't give a fuck out there with chairs, and But the actual match, I mean, I'm really. I think in this match, I don't know if I was imagining it or probably going crazy, but I'm pretty sure we had "Let's go AJ, let's go Roman" chants.
No, you're not
Like
going crazy. That did happen.
that did happen. Like both as loud as each other. What is going on? What is going on?
I think this is going to be the WWE's next home venue where you're going to see all their shows emanate from this arena just because Roman Reigns gets so many cheers.
Where were they?
Omaha, Nebraska, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. Hometown for the WWE now. Forget New York, forget Chicago, forget Philly. Nope. From now on, WWE's going to come live from Omaha every week.
Until they inevitably get bored of it like everybody else.
Thought that now they once again we kind of had Roman Reigns effectively disposing of both Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson quite easily. Like, considering the hype and fanfare, they haven't half made the pair of them look normal, I'm gonna say. Like,
yeah, at this point, there's nothing other than they want to do what they want. There is nothing great about them. Like from obviously a booking point of view, I mean, obviously we still know what they're capable of and stuff like that. But from a casual viewer's point of view, I'm guessing that they are literally just AJ's friends, sort of thing. Like they haven't booked them in a way that would make them like an unstoppable force, sort of thing.
Like Carl Anderson is like in terms of like New Japan wrestling, he's essentially the greatest tag team wrestler New Japan's ever seen. Like he has the longest running title reign with Tensai Matt Bloom, as well as I think almost the second or third longest reign with Luke Gallows over there. Like Carl Anderson is tag team wrestling for New Japan. Yeah, he's being made to look like a chump compared to Roman Reigns. Like, is that a problem of WWE's just booking in general when it comes to tag teams?
Well, you just can't make him seem more stronger than the title. You know, you can't make him. If he was stronger than him, and Roman
I'm
Reigns.
not saying to make him stronger to make him Roman. I'm saying like Roman Reigns essentially disposing both Luke and Carl with relative ease kind of takes away their luster.
I don't know about that. I'm not sure I agree. You could argue it was soft, I guess, but I mean it was a Superman punch and it was a spear, and they put away AJ Styles and many other wrestlers before him. So, is it that soft? I guess not. It's not being defeated by a flying forearm. So.
I think I think it is just because that's where we've seen them is against the champ Roman Reigns, so they haven't had a chance really to go up against anyone else. And I think when they get around to doing that, that's when we'll actually see them like push forward like that, rather than obviously because they're not going to get anywhere close to Roman Reigns, are they? While they're
I think it's of that similar to what John Cena had about 5 or 6 years ago. Is that anyone in a feud with him almost kind of came off worse in a sense. Like they're better off not being anywhere near him.
No, just a stepping stone, I guess. They need to. The Bullet Club need to. Well, the club rather need to just beat down some people to get that ferocious streak, a ferocious opinion about them out there. Because right now they are just AJ's boys, and nothing much else really. So far in the WWE, but we all know what they're capable of. We all know what the club has the promise of. It's just we just need to get there, and when we do get there, we're all going to be very, very pleased. But the question is, I guess, will WWE let us get there? I don't know. I'd like to hope so.
I think everyone's hoping so. Like, there's been I haven't seen this much buzz about a group of guys to get signed in a very long time, and whilst the feud overall is really entertaining, like it's great to see Styles kind of being put on par as the WWE champion and pushing him. as good as it is, it feels, I don't know, like it could be better.
What, the feud?
Like, yeah, like I think there's like as good as it is. I think they could be. I don't know. I think it's just like it's just kind of it's coming from how the treating of like Gallows and Anderson. It's not to say they've been treated bad. It's just
Well, so far, what, AJ's... No, well, Roman Reigns has got the better of AJ Styles on most occasions, if not all of them, except for this one where it was a standoff. I think next, what we have is we have Roman Reigns being beat down by somebody. If not all three of them, AJ puts him down with a chair, which would seem fitting. And then we'll get to the title match eventually, which Roman will probably win again. But from now until the actual pay-per-view, I reckon we see the Bullet Club over them, standing over the three Uso boys. You know,
it's needed. I think it's definitely needed.
Yeah, and I think we will get it because so far everything's been booked really, really well for this 6 competitors. I think the story is going really quite well. It's really entertaining. It's really interesting. But to keep that believability, we've seen one side of it standing over the other. Now we need the other side of the coin as well, and hopefully we'll get that next week. How many more Raws until the pay-per-view? It's 2, isn't it? 2 more shows.
2.
Yeah. So maybe the go-home show, we have AJ Styles and the club standing over him. Seems like a good way to end the show to me.
It would certainly be a good image, especially if they did, it was a true kind of beatdown, almost putting Roman through a table or, of that kind of ilk. So it'll be it's interesting to see where they go with this feud, I guess, and, build them back up to make it believable that, AJ could potentially beat Roman because that's what they kind of need to do. Because I think at the moment in time, no one's coming away from this feud thinking AJ's beating Roman.
Well, I certainly don't.
No, it's not going to happen. As much as we want it to, it's just not feasible from what they're trying to do with Roman Reigns. And the only way that Roman Reigns is going to get beat, I think, is when someone does have that Money in the Bank, and it's going to last until whenever that's cashed in.
But then, on the other side of the coin, with the possibility of superstars returning, if they do return within the next month or 2 as reported, would AJ Styles then just be a forgotten piece? You'd like to think not, but the desire to see these returning superstars will be quite high, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, on the website I put a post up earlier about the Vince McMahon confirming that Cena, Rollins, Orton, and Wyatt will be back in the next month, and I think on there that I said, like, you can see where John Cena's going to fit in. You can see that Bray Wyatt's just going to pick up where he left off, and Rollins is obviously going to be put in the authority angle or like somewhere between Ambrose and Roman Reigns. But with Randy Orton, I mean, he is one of Vince McMahon's guys, and where they're going to put him, I have no idea, or what even they're going to do with him.
Is AJ Styles the next thing for Randy Orton? Like, say
that's certainly possible, but also you could also have the club versus the Wyatt.
Don't put that idea into my head and have to not deliver on it, for the love of God.
Let's face it, the Bray Wyatt's not going to really get the win there, is he?
Well, it's not going to get the win, but it'd be interesting for a while. I mean, that's a feud that does not even have to end after a month. That could just go on for ages. Wyatt's versus the club.
Especially if you add a certain demon to the whole...
Okay.
You're getting me, you're getting me now.
Oh, man.
Charles, calm down.
There we are. We've just fantasy booked a potential Bullet Club versus the Wyatt family, and we're all going to be disappointed that it's never going to happen.
Well, it's got to be 4-on-4, right? So.
Braun Strowman's no more. He's not.
Well, I would happily keep him there if it meant 4-on-4 and you get him.
Could you imagine that though? The biggest tag team versus. I suppose the Gallows is pretty big. The biggest tag team versus the smallest four-man set that you've ever seen.
I think the New
Oh,
Day might be
I'd love to
slightly
see Braun
smaller.
Strowman stood next to Finn Balor.
Well, moving on from
Sorry.
moving on from the six-man and us fantasy booking potentially one of the best tag team stable warfares ever that we're ever going to see. It's Kevin Owens versus Zack Ryder, and as we mentioned in the rather straightforward, Kevin Owens just beating the piss out of Zack Ryder with relative ease, with all the sass and trash talk that goes with the Kevin Owens match.
Poor Zach.
I think some of the highlights from Kevin Owens versus Zack Ryder tonight was, why do you even exist? What else did he say? Oh, are you recording some internet show with Shane McMahon when the two of them were backstage?
I'd watch that.
Zack Ryder and Shane.
Yeah.
Long Island Ice Tea. Is that still a thing? Or did that die?
He stopped doing it. I think he got told to stop doing it. Oh, it just ran its course.
I'm pretty sure they called him Long Island IC on NXT in their last Hype Bros match that they had.
But then I thought I used to. Did you used to watch the Long Island IC show? Did you ever watch it?
No.
Oh, it was so funny. Oh man, I love those days. Yeah, his dad's in it, and he's jacked as shit, man. His dad, he's massive. But he used to do little segments where he'd have the Zack Ryder action figures, and he's like, "This is Zack Ryder," and then he'd have a fence, and he'd climbing the fence, and he'd be like, "This is Zack Ryder getting over." WWE. Oh man, it was so good. And then he obviously had his internet title, which he was obviously a winner of. And then Ziggler was in it as well. Oh, I missed that show. I think there was like 52 episodes and then it was done. Oh.
Sounds like a trip to YouTube is needed after this.
You can watch all of them, back to back.
Moving on then from Zack Ryder.
Down memory lane.
To Zack Ryder's only appearance this month until we see him again, maybe in 3 months' time. We had always the best part of Raw. It was the New Day making their way out for a match against the Dudley Boys, and it was confirmed that the Vaudevillains were going one-on-one with the New Day at Extreme Rules for the Tag Team Championships. Thoughts on the match?
Can't say I watched it.
Well, the New Day match.
New Day versus the Dudleys, yeah.
Yeah. It's just what you expect from the New Day kind of tag match now, though, isn't it? The Stampede continues to be my favourite thing in the world. The Unicorn Stampede in the corner. Xavier Woods' commentary at the side is still a wonder to behold. And I am going to message Xavier Woods because I want to interview him for our network. He could come on this one, he could go on the Outer Line, any of them. It'd be fantastic. And he's so cool, he'd want to, right? Surely, huh? Right?
Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but I've messaged him.
No!
Yeah, I did. It was like weeks ago, because his DMs are open, as he likes to say.
Yes, he did, yeah.
But no response yet, but I'm sure...
Was this going to be like a birthday present to me? December. down the line. Michael, I've got you a present. I have you, Xavier Woods!
I'll just wrap him up and put him on your doorstep.
Okay, we can't tell him that because I don't think he'll come on. I mean, I don't think he will anyway, but that would really drive him away. Sorry, the match, Ollie. The match was fun. Devon's clothesline to finish the match was freaking lethal.
Where he turned Kofi inside out, basically.
Yeah, I want to see more of that from Devon. But yeah, the match ended how it was with the Vaudevillains interfering. I guess it had to be done. They weren't there on the show other than that. So It was very much a necessity. Um, it goes to tell me that why are the Dudleys still not getting their 10th title match? No, their 10th title. Because they're still so good. Give them the title. Eventually. Please. Why they didn't do it when they came back fresh is beyond me. Absolutely beyond
Because the
me.
New Day were where the New Day were. Like, you couldn't take the tag titles off the New Day at that point.
Oh, I think there was a time when you could have, when the Dudleys first came back. Now, I mean, the longer the title reign goes, the more you think, well, this can't end now. It's now becoming legendary status. I love the New Day though. I always have liked the New Day. I'm a staunch supporter of them, and if they never lose the title, I'd also be very happy. So. I just can't win. I want them to lose, but I want them to keep the title. Is that possible?
It's a WWE, so anything could happen.
The answer is yes, it can. When you have 2 tag titles in the brand split.
We'll go from one anything could happen to literally anything seemed to happen in this main event, which was set to be Big Cass versus Chris Jericho. Big Cass makes his way out to the ring for the match. We then get Chris Jericho's start to his entrance, the lights go out, only for something to be happening about on stage. Jericho seems to be getting his arse kicked, and then when the lights come back on, it's Dean Ambrose wearing the jacket with Jericho laid out on stage. With Dean Ambrose. So, basically, after a brawl which had Big Cass coming down and delivering a hell of a big boot, we had Dean Ambrose destroying the reportedly $25,000 jacket, not the $15,000 that Ambrose said. But if you look at the reports online, apparently it's closer to 25 is actually what the jacket's meant to be worth.
Oh dear. So if Jericho got it wrong, it was worth even more than 15.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Jericho.
Thoughts on the main event that was never the main event? Like, were you happy?
Told you, I'm disappointed.
Disappointed. Why are you disappointed?
Because this was unfair on Big Cass. He was a means to an end, and an end that wasn't necessary. Why not have a match and then get him to come down and beat him up and then rip up his jacket? Big Cass could have really done with a singles win here. This would have been big for him.
Would you put
and the fact
for the main event?
It depends. Do you want to give him a big push? Why not?
I assume he's going back into the tag title picture with Enzo, so...
Yeah, sure, but I mean, this would keep the team hot without having the team fight. Don't you think?
I'm like... As big as I am on Enzo and Cass, I think giving Cass the win over Chris Jericho in his essential first one-on-one match on Raw, you then kind of go, well, why is this guy in a tag team? Why is he not challenged for the title? Like, if you give him a win that big, that early, then it's like, well, why is he doing the tag team thing?
Yeah, because he could have won via shenanigans. He didn't get not getting a clean win over Chris Jericho on Raw. That's not feasible, But Dean Ambrose could have come down, interfered. Well, not even interfered. Grabbed the jacket, started cutting up. That means Jericho takes his eye off the ball. Big Cass kicks him in the face with another massive boot, and then steals a win. Would you not have been happy with that? And it keeps Jericho's integrity. It keeps Big Cass hot. I don't know. It just seems like it was a bit of a waste. But as soon as the match started, the guys started coming down. There was only 7 minutes left on the show. You knew it weren't going to happen.
Chelsea, what do you think about how the main event did or did not end up going down?
Yeah, I agree with Michael when I think it was a complete waste of Big Cass. I mean, if anything, what they were going to do with this, it shouldn't have been the main event.
Exactly.
But what actually happened, like, I am all over it. Like, I absolutely love Dean Ambrose and Jericho and what they're doing together. And just Jericho screaming about his jacket, like, it was a great segment, but I just don't. It really shouldn't have been the main event. It really shouldn't have.
Is it amazing the fact that Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose have made us care about a potted plant and a very tacky jacket more so than half the WWE roster?
Oh, it's a rib at this point. They're just ribbing everyone. Next week, find out when Chris Jericho breaks Dean Ambrose's mop.
There was.
You know what they should do? Dean Ambrose should break the Gerotron again. Someone's not broken a Gerotron in a long time.
I mean, that is a good way to go. But I mean, if I know we like our Anchorman quotes here, but if Dean Ambrose comes out, he's like, "I love lamp," and then he breaks lamp. That'd be perfect. Just keep breaking each other's property. Oh man, what a stupid thing we watch. We watch the stupidest things in the world. And we love it.
So overall thoughts on the show then? If you had to give it a rating or a grade, as it were.
I'd go 3.5, 4 out of 5.
I thought you were going to say out of 10. I was like, that's only because you didn't watch it, Chelsea.
No, I mean it's an improvement on what we were getting pre-WrestleMania. I don't know. I mean, the first 4 weeks, so we had the excitement of Shane running things, and it just seems to. It's not quite as good, but it was a solid Raw, and that is a good thing compared to the state of some of the Raws we had before, where literally after like half an hour you wanted to turn it off. Whereas now I feel like you have a reason to watch it all the way through. Like maybe not at 1 o'clock in the morning, but I don't know. It seems very solid.
But this Shane Stephanie storyline is just bubbling away nicely, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
they're playing happy families at the minute, but you can just tell that Stephanie she's gonna break at some point. She's gonna slap
I think this is
so hard.
If I'm not mistaken, we really didn't get Shane or Steph like in front of in the ring, did we? Like there was no big in-ring promo from either of them, which has got to be the first time for McMahon in a very long time that neither came out. I mean, we saw Shane with the Ric Flair shenanigans, but and there was a few little backstage things, but there's no 20-minute McMahon promo.
No, none at all. The only time, in fact, any of them came out was for escorting Ric Flair out of the building.
So they're definitely playing up with how with the format, and it does. As much as you say there's not a big difference in terms of a new era, it feels like it's a refreshed Raw at the very least.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And so does Chelsea?
Yes.
I will speak for Chelsea. Chelsea does.
Chelsea's gone back to Uncharted 4. I think that's what's happening. She's daydreaming about Nathan Drake again.
No, she's too concerned with the breaking news.
Yeah, I did. I just saw Adam Rose has been indefinitely suspended from WWE. I do not think we will ever see him again. But WWE have come out and said they have a zero tolerance for matters involving domestic violence, and per our policy, Raymond Lepan has been suspended indefinitely following his arrest.
Well, there you have it. Breaking news here on the Out of Nowhere podcast. I think to wrap this show up, we'll briefly get onto what I think is probably some of the more exciting news that came out of the WWE this week, is that at the end of June, there is going to be a certain show, live event happening in Hawaii with the following 3 matches. Women's Champion Charlotte taking on NXT Women's Champion Asuka. Kevin Owens facing Brock Lesnar.
Holy shit!
And the main event of this house show, I think it's June 26th or 29th, emanating from over in Hawaii, is the returning John Cena going one-on-one against the latest NXT superstar, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Holy shit.
The biggest face in American wrestling will take on the biggest face in Japanese wrestling. Each of these matches, and we reported on this over on outoflies.net, each three of these matches, I could turn around and say to you that these are going to be the three main matches for WrestleMania 33. I don't think any of you would bat an eye to that, would you? If I told you WrestleMania 33 was John Cena versus Nakamura, Brock Lesnar versus Kevin Owens, and Asuka versus Charlotte, would you argue?
Not in the slightest.
Just sign me up immediately and get me a ticket.
But it's not WrestleMania 33. It's not SummerSlam. It's not even Payback.
It's a fucking show in Hawaii.
It is a live event in Hawaii, which is rumoured to be one of the next special events live on the network, which will be called Bash at the Beach.
Yes!
To top this madness off, we're bringing back a WCW pay-per-view. That is what's going on.
Bring back the Bash.
When I saw this, basically where this news has come from, if you hadn't heard, is that whilst Raw was going on, there was as you see sometimes locally, if the WWE is coming to your area, you'll see localized adverts promoting their shows, and the show that got promoted was this very Hawaii live event where they said John Cena was taking on Shinsuke Nakamura.
Like, is this legit confirmed? Because this just sounds all too much to be true.
It is legit confirmed.
Can I tell you what? The world's going to blow up when John Cena actually puts on one of the greatest matches with Shinsuke Nakamura that you've ever seen, and the world's just going to be like, "Oh, he can wrestle." And Mick Foley's going to put out a blog, and he's going to be like, "I told you he could wrestle." And John Cena is just going to put some sort of smiley face on Twitter, and then Total Bellas is going to follow it. The WWE money machine just keeps on rolling.
As I stated in the article, though, the WWE is going, they've just gone hell for leather in terms of these live events. We saw the NXT title change at a house show. We're getting John Cena versus Nakamura at a yet to be confirmed that it's going to be on the network special live event. At this point, if you've not got a ticket for WWE when it's in your area, you're missing out. If this is what it doesn't quite seem plausible, but it is, and it's happening.
Could you imagine if this is not actually on the network? This is just a house show.
Well, NXT do it all the time. They have main events of Samoa Joe versus Nakamura versus Austin Aries, or Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor versus Nakamura.
Yeah, but this is NXT champion versus WWE champion, Cena versus Nakamura, and Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's going to be something that's not on the network. I don't believe that for a minute. This is on the network. It's got to be. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not making this up, right? This has got to be on the network.
I think if they said to Brock Lesnar he was just doing a house show and it wasn't going to be aired everywhere.
I think he has done one or two house shows since he came back. He did the Madison Square Garden house show.
But that's MSG, isn't it? I mean.
True, I guess there's a.
But I think
not
difference to Hawaii. maybe Brock Lesnar wants to go to Hawaii. He's never been.
I was just going to say, do you think he wants
surfing? He wants a summer holiday. But yeah,
Sable needs to get bathing suits out. And then she was like, Brock, I want to go to Hawaii. And he's like, well, just so happens actually, I could go. I have to wrestle some guy called Owens. I think he's called Owens. I'll have to wrestle him. But yeah. Which of these three matches are you most looking forward to seeing?
Oh, probably is it Cena Nakamura?
Yeah.
But only very, very just slightly, because Kevin Owens, Brock Lesnar will be just Kevin Owens in a ring with Brock Lesnar and just seeing what is going to come out of his mouth, just how far is he going to push Brock Lesnar?
Oh no, but can you imagine if they do what they did for Roadblock and they give us a couple of weeks, 1 or 2 weeks of build up to these things? That's Kevin Owens going off against Paul Heyman. Not just
Oh
Brock
my
Lesnar.
God.
That's
I'm,
Owens
I'm, get,
on the
I'm
microphone.
getting
Paul
I'm getting a
Heyman.
little excited, so my body can't cope. And I'm going to have to just take a moment because things are happening.
Okay,
I'm good. I'm good.
Like, the best example I think of the match we're going to get between Cena and Nakamura was the match we got at SummerSlam between Cena and Daniel Bryan. That was very of the style that I think we're
Well,
going to get.
you just go see the Sami Zayn.
But I think Bryan match in particular wrestled more of the Japanese style that we're going to get from Nakamura.
I
Like the
can't
Nakamura
wait.
Sami Zayn match. So I think it's going to be. I think we're probably going to get a mixture of Nakamura, Zayn, and Daniel Bryan versus John Cena out of this match. And
What's the date of this thing? When is her
It is-
Hawaii show?
June 29th.
That's not even far away.
Oh, it's a month and a half.
I think, if I'm right, is it like we've got NXT that we're all going to on the 15th, and then I think like on the Sunday we have what will it be? Whatever's after Extreme Rules, I'm guessing.
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, and then we're gonna get this like a few days later. It is literally gonna be the best like week and a half in wrestling that any of us have had in a while.
And the best thing about all of this is that the network shows are usually on a Saturday, which means we can stay up and not have to go to work ridiculously tired. Oh, this is too good to be true. It's all
Yeah,
too good
so
to be
this
true.
is this is WWE's June. NXT Takeover June 8th.
Yes.
Money in the Bank June 19th. We're going to see NXT in the UK June 15th.
Yeah.
And then we're getting this Super Show June 29th.
Shit.
Cena's going to be at NXT.
June is going to be the biggest month of the year for wrestling. Like,
and then SummerSlam follows that.
And then you've got Battleground July 24th and SummerSlam in August. But from June 8th until June 29th, be glued to the network. Because holy shit at those couple of shows.
And we're going to go to all of them because we're going to get press passes now.
Maybe not that, but we will be giving you as much live coverage of those events as we can do because
we have a new website.
We do have a new website, and I think that's the perfect segue into wrapping this up. So, if you've enjoyed today's show, then you can check us, as always, from now on at 8:30 every Wednesday here on YouTube, Google+, Google Hangouts, which way you prefer to. Otherwise, if you can't catch it live, you can always catch it on YouTube, which will be going up straight after this podcast is finished. Or you can wait a day or two on delay, and we'll have it edited with an introduction and get rid of a few of the pauses as a podcast to download. And you can download the podcast and find all the links for that at outoflies.net, our newly revamped, refurbished site, which has all the latest and greatest in TV, video games, movies, and, of course, wrestling. We have our own dedicated wrestling show, the wrestling section, which has all wrestling news, reports, and opinions from myself, Chelsea, Mike, Stevie, Russ, and a couple of other members who may or may not be joining us in the future. And if you'd like to potentially join us or write reports for Raw, SmackDown, Lucha Underground, TNA, if you happen to be one of the few people who watch TNA, so you can send us an email to potentially put your name forward.
Not TNA. Don't bother.
You can send us an email to outofnowherepodcast@gmail.com. You can get us on Twitter at outofnowherepod. You can, as I mentioned, go to the website, outlies.net. You can go over to tpublic.com/user/outoflives.
Just go to the website for now.
Greatest in merchandise. And yeah, other than promoting every other podcast, Chelsea, Mike, where can people catch you to?
Fight Chelsea Fight on Twitter. Same as always.
Yeah, at DjangoBob96. Damn you, 96.
One of these days you may get it.
Do you think it's worth checking, like, weekly, just to see if that guy buggers off?
Why not? You know, maybe you can actually. I'm sure you can like contact them and say this guy's been inactive. I want it.
I want it. Anyway.
Anyway, on that note, again, I hope you've enjoyed. Please like, rate, subscribe, listen, review, share, you name it. We love you all for doing it, and the more that you do that, the more stuff we can do and make more content for you. So on that note, peace.
Peace.